All right, a few more inconveniences about living here in Vlora for me, and most likely for you, at least in the beginning. Um, these are more surprises than inconveniences. I'm going to jump right in with the two that I have selected for today, and that is everything is paid in cash. Everything from the rent to utilities to your internet provider or cell phone provider, your groceries, probably the car rental. I'm not 100% sure of that. But all of your sundries and incidentals and everything that you pay for, cash is king. I hate to use that. But cash is preferred. This is a cash society. There are no records, very few receipts, unless you specifically request a receipt, which is probably a good idea for some of these things that you need the records for, just in case. Now, paying the rent, I always ask for a receipt, and I want the date, and I want a clear signature. That is what I do to protect myself, just in case. But yes, cash. And cash obviously involves going to the bank. Now for me, I do not have a bank account here. I do not have a European bank account, although that would probably be a mute point anyway. So I use my American ATM, and it can get quite expensive. I have a system, and I just have to pay. That's all there is to it. There are larger companies, I know, like Vodafone will take a credit card, all right? And if you have a credit card that doesn't charge you international fees, that may be better, because traveling in Europe, the recommendation for the best price is to use a credit card, and it's that day that the charge goes through that you'll be charged for that exchange rate. But that's all bets are off in Albania. We are cash. This is a cash society, all right? And the cash is preferred. I don't know how many times I'm going to say that, but I know it's true. Oh, I know where I was going. The markets, the bigger markets where you would most likely shop for bigger things, will take a card. I have used a card. When I first got here, I tried to use my card more, but then I just stopped. I fell in line, and now I pay cash with everything, okay, for everything. So you get, you find a bank that you like. You don't go into the bank, but with the ATM, you go to the ATM window, but make sure that it's attached to a bank, all right? It's never a good idea, no matter where you are, even in the U.S., to use those freestanding ATM machines. I remember when they first appeared, they were scary then. Cards were getting lost, and they disappeared, and all kinds of awful things. And in a foreign country, you're totally susceptible. At least if you use an ATM with a bank inside, even though the bank is closed, you can go back the next day and get your card. I have heard it said that it takes 4 days, but at least you have a chance to get your card. It's not just some businessman who's bought a bunch of ATMs and backing them, and they're serviced, once a month. And usually they're instructed that if a card gets stuck in there, to just tear it up or rip it up or cancel it or something. There's no chance of getting your card back. So make sure that you're using an ATM that's attached to a bank, preferably a larger bank. So yes, the cash thing, that was a that's an adjustment to how deep it goes. So I haven't stayed at a hotel here, so I don't know if it transfers to that. I would imagine some private little hotels would prefer cash. All right, so that's the cash. It's actually just fairly simple, pay cash. The next one that may surprise you, and this is kind of another old-fashioned expression, you don't know what you don't know. It's interesting. The society that I have found functioning in this society, that you have to ask questions. You have to ask the right questions. You cannot be too intrusive with the questions, but you do need to find out the information and the things you need to be able to function. And I will give you one very good example where I'm living. I have been living here since the 10th of December. This was a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment. Well, it's been divided to a 1-bedroom, to 2 1-bedroom, 1-baths. One is, I guess, considerably, considerably smaller. But she's my Albanian neighbor, the Albanian language teacher. Anyway, so she was paying everything, and then I would pay her. She showed me the bills, and I never had a problem with that. In fact, it made it really easy for me. But then about a month ago, I know that the company, the electric company or utilities company, came and separated the 2 apartments. So I have my own meter. But my landlord never mentioned that now I have a separate book and now I'm supposed to pay my own. Well, that's terrific. I'm personally thrilled with that, because that means I have control and there's not ever going to be an overlap of not paying the bill. So, but I've had to ask her to send over the booklet. She doesn't live in Albania, but her in-laws do. So that's who I pay my rent to. And I have said, please, just, send Lek with the book when he gets the rent. Yes. So we'll see tomorrow if I'm going to get the booklet or not. It's these kinds of things that make it interesting. Yes, interesting. You don't know what you don't know. I'm going on my own personal experience here. This is a modern apartment. They have the modern electrical plugs here, and they installed all the new style European plugs where they're child-proof and they're on a spring. So when you plug your adapter in, it has to go all the way in, and it has to be strong enough to stay there. Well, a lot of times these little adapters are not. So it pops right out. So I had to go to a store and buy like another a stronger plug to plug the adapter in. But no one told me that Europe has upgraded their electrical plugs for childproofing. Stuff like that. And I know there's a lot of other bigger stuff involved. But I just have a little simple life here, so I don't have to get too involved in that. And that's the way I'd like to keep it. So anyway, those are the two last surprises that I can think of at this point where I will keep you posted if some other things come up. There's some minor things that I'll talk about later. I mean, they're minor that you're just going to have to live with. So that's it. Hope this helps your life. Bye.